How would you describe a band kid?
Maybe a little nerdy.
Annoying.
I can't say that.
Annoying.
Crazy.
Cliquey.
Obsessed about band.
Cult-like.
They're kind of like to themselves. Isolated.
Geeky, losers.
Low-key, really weird. Loud.
They're very interesting people.
Literally a cult. Quiet.
A loser.
Quiet.
Obnoxious. Like, stop talking about it every time.
Just weird people.
Since one of them hates me, then all of them hates me, and therefore I hate them.
I went from bland and popular to joining the marching band.
High school is built off stereotypes. We are all led to believe that the football players and cheerleaders are the cool kids, and people in marching band are nerds. But why is that a stereotype? And what are the effects it has on today's youth? The stereotype of a nerdy, geeky band kid started a long time ago. Band director Dwan Brooks remembers all too clearly what it was like to be a band kid in high school.
You know, it's the hardest thing about being a band kid is that everyone knows that you're a band kid, you know. When I got to high school, though, it became very isolating, you know, because you have, like, your band friends, and then that's pretty much it. And everyone knows that the band geeks stay by the band room, and, like, that's what they call us, band geeks. But, like, for us, we loved it because we had each other, and we were in a big program kind of like this, 300 plus.
The stereotype has not changed. At South, we can see that band clearly has its own little community. And more times than not, this community is generalized as one where only weird kids belong. Ethan Paul is a senior at South and plays the trumpet in the marching band and wind ensemble.
I think the other problem is, like, how band is portrayed in, like, pop culture as well. And there are so many, like, movies and TV show portrayal of, like, great sports teams, like how important sports are to people, and I'm talking about like typical when we think of high school sports, but there are like no examples of like movies, documentaries, or anything, TV shows about bands.
Big name artists have much control over their audience, especially when they're young. Taylor Swift, for example, has a classic love story in her music video for You Belong With Me, where the popular football player falls in love with the popular cheerleader instead of the nerdy marching band kid singing the song. Movies are also big in promoting the stereotype. This August, Netflix released a new movie, Sierra Burgess is a Loser, where the main character, Sierra Burgess, is standing in the cover photo in a marching band uniform. The story again followed a popular football player who thought he was falling in love with a hot cheerleader, but the ugly, unathletic band kid was hiding behind the texts.
I wonder what life is like for rejects. Move it, Frodo.
Our society talks about representation a lot, but more in terms of gender and race. We encourage media to show more minorities and STEM fields to hire more women.
We need representation.
There's not enough girls studying these STEM subjects. That's issue one.
And that hopefully the huge increases in gay and lesbian characters will lead to more diverse and transgender inclusive storylines.
Yet, we don't think about the lack of representation in high school activities. This also includes the physical representation of what students experience in high school. Kids understand how difficult math is because everyone has to take a certain amount of years in math. They understand what it takes to be an athlete because 4 years of gym is required. The same goes for English and social studies and science. But when it comes to fine arts, at South, students only need half of a credit. That is only one semester of band, or ceramics, or choir, or painting.
People don't know much about band. Like, people who aren't in band know nothing about band. So, like, anything, like, it's such a specific thing we do, and we go very deep into that one specific thing, so I think that seems pretty geeky.
Maybe the root of the stereotype lays in our society's values. Americans put a high value on athletics.
It's up deep in the pocket, goes down the field for Smith. Oh, he got it! Smith! Touchdown, 85 yards!
One of the most controversial questions to any person in marching band is marching band a sport? By definition, a sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
That is exactly marching band, right? Marching band is exactly all of those things. Individual, team, and entertainment. And we work our tails off. And like I have seen so many studies done, show the marching band studies, about how our heart rates are higher They run faster. They're put under extreme physical, like, stress.
Because of the lack of representation in the media about what it takes to be in marching band, many kids just think it's an activity people are involved in. They just sit in chairs and play music. They don't do anything physical. But marching band is nothing like that. And the stereotype of band kids doesn't run the same through all schools. Some schools, where the marching bands are nationally ranked, find band kids really cool. They see the effort they put into their shows and appreciate the commitment. But South is not immune to the stereotype and harsh comments towards band kids. Just this fall, a fight rung out in the senior group chat while trying to plan the senior pranks. Someone suggested the idea, let's break all the band instruments, which got an unexpected amount of support. Though it was meant to be a joke, people did not find it funny. This led to polls like, is marching band a sport? And who's more annoying, band kids or cross-country kids? And should we remove band kids from the senior group chat? Which resulted in a shocking 86% of people saying yes. All this started from a couple of comments several students in band responded to. Senior Emma Anza is a clarinet player who remembers exactly when this was all happening.
In the senior group chat, when a band kid would talk, regardless of what they'd say, they'd constantly be getting attacked for being a band kid, and like they would attack the rest of the band too. And I was like, okay, what happened to like being an individual? And like that's what they said. This does not mean this is what all band kids think. This does not mean that this is how all band kids act. That's just another person. But like anytime someone would say anything, they'd be like, oh, it's the band kids again, and they'd make the stupid polls and they'd make the comments. And I was like, and then in our chat, like in the marching band seniors chat, we'd all be like, hey, stop talking, like you're making the rest of us look bad. So the fact that we have to like check ourselves so that we make sure that the rest of the band kids aren't being made fun of too is also irritating, because I feel like no other sport or activity has to, like even speech kids weren't getting like yelled at, and they also have like a kind of stereotype in the school, you know, for being speech kids, but like they still don't have to do that, because if a speech kid says something, they're not going to be attacked.
Stereotypes are more than just words, and therefore need to be stopped with more than just words. One way to break the stigma is by showing people how music really works. Band needs to go so much further outside the classroom. Band camp, for example, is a week in August where students spend nearly 13 hours a day learning the show. This year at the end of band camp, the parents had the opportunity to learn one page of drill used in the show. They had to properly hold the instrument and walk in time the correct amount of steps to a specific location. Small things like this, where people get to hands-on try out band, helps teach them what it's like to be in the activity. But you don't have to be in marching band to respect band kids. Small acts of kindness go a long way.
I just kind of wish it was like basketball. Like you ask somebody, you know, how was your game? You know, oh no, you did this, I saw that, how was that? You know, like just... It doesn't have to be like a big defining characteristic of who you are. It's just something that you're a part of, that you enjoy.
The one thing coming out of all of this is that band is just like any other activity. The people involved in it are constantly around those people, building their community. Most band kids don't fit the nerdy and weird stereotype. Everyone is different and has their own personality, and we need to recognize that more than just in school, but as a society as a whole.
Under the direction of DeJuan Brooks and Greg Hensel, the Downers Grove South High School Marching Band.